guys, how are you doing today? Welcome to MarkTalk. I am your host, Mark Levy, and I am so excited to be here today. Of course, if you haven't watched before, welcome. We're doing a special episode today. Normally, it's our interview day, but kind of is still like that. I was pitched by a dear friend of mine, who I'll be bringing out first, and then I'll bring out his production team, who are also friends of mine. But we are going to be talking about a really amazing game that is in its 10th season, which is insane. I played it twice myself. It's called Double Twist, and I'm going to bring out the host first, my friend Renzo Santos.
Hello, Mark.
Renzo?
Good.
Happy to have you here. Yeah.
No, it's super nice to be here, and really appreciate you, Mark, for doing this.
Well, I appreciate you for doing everything because you're an awesome dude that I always get so happy when I get a chance to talk to. And when you asked to this, I'm like, yeah, definitely, please. And I'm gonna bring out so our production team is here because you're like the biggest production team of like any of these games. I feel like this is like a third production team, I think, right?
Yeah.
But we'll bring them out now. I'll bring it out first. I'm gonna try to say the name correctly because I just heard it for the first time ever said. Just DeRoche.
Yes.
Rasmus Landers, Ferry Chavez, and Brian Ferrello. And I will put myself down there. So, there we go. It's your show.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you guys all here on the show. Yeah,
thank you, Mark. And I would just like to give a shout out to the other production members who are not here. Lewis might be joining us later if he is free. But also in the production team right now, we have KP, Jester, Ashley, Nicole, Humby. I hope I'm not missing
Sheila.
Chase. Sheila. I have the biggest production team. And like just friends trying to help every time.
So I'm going to get started with a question. Like, how did you come up with the idea for Double Twists?
Okay. So great question and a great way to start it because we're about to commemorate seasons 1 to season 9 in this talk. And season 10 is coming. But it all started when I was joining a lot of the random BB games hosted in the community. A lot of like people have been doing it, and I just got so inspired to potentially create a version of my own. I think the biggest trigger would be when I played Charlie Jones random game, and he really did plan it out. So I got really inspired by that, and then I got inspired by Robin's. But I started before Robin. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna create something small. I am inviting people from my minis from 7-Eleven, Latinx, and International One. And then, I cannot actually reach a number that I want. So I invited more friends like Brian Ferrello, Marcelo, Ali, Santi, Sean. And like after that first season, everybody just had positive reviews about it. And I was like, maybe this is something that I can continue and just with my friends. So the idea is really just to be a fun and casual game, small, all friends, and an opportunity to be messy for those who cannot be messy during when Sequester was around, when the Sequester minis were around. So I was like always saying, this is a great way for you to experiment different kinds of gameplay. And then season 2 came, season 3 came, and then season 4 I think had like a very stacked cast. And by then I was like, okay, this is now something that I can make to do regularly. And and it just evolved to this wonderful game, and I will not be able to do it without hi Kayla, and will not be able to do it without the help of like the best production team ever. Like I'm just like a small percentage of everything that is happening in this game. So I think that's it. If the production wants to add anything, just feel free as well.
I just want to state something like that. I find that was really intriguing to me when the game was getting started, because the first 2 seasons, the winner won a sequester game with like a week after the game, and then in season 3, it was 3 of the top 10 people, I think, in
Yeah,
like 8 days. And like then like everyone just started applying like insanely fast for this game.
And I think
exactly.
that was the incentive for everyone.
Yeah.
Exactly. Khalid had never won a sequester game, but then when he played and then won sequester one, he like I think in the span of a week he won
Yeah.
international three, and then Robin also won season two, and then in a matter of 7 days they got their first win in sequester, and
Season
the trend
three,
continues with
And then
Abby
Abby.
it was Abby, myself, and Andrew.
and
Marcus.
yes, Andre
Yeah.
Marcus. And I think yeah, season five. When we did season four, Sparks won, so I was like, okay, he cannot win again. And then I think the sequester mini stopped by around season five or season four and five.
Yeah. It was season 4.
Okay. So yeah, and it does just become. I feel like a big part of the cutthroatness of Double Twist is that I am very intentional when I create the twists. I'm a big fan of game theory. Growing up, it has been like well not like a young when I was in university I was like I like game theory. I took it as an elective class, and I thought that it was just pretty interesting, but it definitely is not all in games like Survivor and Big Brother. So I basically made sure that everybody had some ammunitions or weapons that they can use while they're inside the game. That's why I love the concept of fire tokens, because the possibilities on how you can use fire tokens in Double Twist is unlimited. And even like how one twist is intertwined with another twist, it creates just a one new aspect of gameplay that not a lot of people are familiar to. And I like it when people are just going cutthroat, taking risks, and doing the best that they can to maneuver through like these twists. And yes, it's called double twist because there are two twists per round. Interesting is back in season one, it never had really a name. It was just like I think Renzo Mini or something, and then exactly. And then I was just like, let's stick with double twists because that's the basic concept. There are two twists per round. And now every time people ask me how I describe it, because it took me a lot of time to differentiate my game from other amazing Zoom games out there. I will now usually describe it as a fruit salad of reality, a salad bowl of a lot of reality games like Big Brother, Sequester, Survivor, and other reality games out there. The Genius, for one, and then adding combining one twist to another twist and making them one big twist that will make you think a lot. And yeah, and we can talk about some of our favorite twists inside the game, but I think I talked too much, but that's basically how Double Twists was formed from season 1 to season 9.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I know that one of the big things we want to talk about today was like the history of like the seasons, like your favorite moments, and of course, you had people that past players bring up things too. So
Yeah. Okay. I think maybe Brian, we can talk about some of our favorite twists. I think that would be a great way to commemorate like from the seasons 1 to season 9. And one of my favorite twists in the game, which has been present since season 1, would be find the pair. Basically, I would start there because I'm a big fan of making sure that even people who are not that well connected yet would have an opportunity to connect with people. And I felt like this twist was something that would incentivize that. And this twist actually got inspired when I was playing Monster Seeking Monsters. I love it so much. So when people are asking, how did you come up with that thing? But that's my way of thinking it. Like just sending direct messages in a time pressured way, trying to find a pair. Then when you find a pair, I will give you incentives to work with your pair and to make your pair survive up until some point wherein you're both gonna be safe. If you both reach that point and if you choose each other. What makes this interesting is that you don't know if your partner choose you up until that point. So even if you did not choose somebody in the game, you can technically lie and still gain their trust just to maneuver your way up to that point. But like as I said, every risk has its um potential danger, like the opposite of rewards. And if you get exposed by that. It's up to you how to maneuver that. But yeah, I think I can go around and say a lot about that twist. But one of my favorite moments for that twist specifically is back in season 2, when we tried it. Or let's start with season 1 with Brian Ferrello and Brian Heron. Maybe Brian, you can help me describe what happened back then.
Yeah, so back then, people were sending messages to like a lot of different people, and my theory was that I wanted to message a bunch of people, but I didn't want to have like an obvious pair. So Marcelo was playing in the game as well, and I didn't want it to be too obvious that, like, we were working together. So I chose not to pair him. And then my story is that at the end of the round, I told Brian, I was asking like, "Oh, do you want to like pair up?" And he didn't confirm with me. So then I ended up picking Marcelo, and then it ended up being both of us up because we were the only people that didn't pair at the time.
Exactly. And back at that time, it was just like, if you don't find a pair, both of you are going to be up for nomination. The long term one was, I think, happened in season 2. Yeah, but I think that is very interesting.
Yeah, what I appreciated with that round, because in the first season you said you have to find someone to pair up with that you have not played a game with before, which is something that I really appreciated, because that forced us to reach out to someone we didn't know very well. And I also liked the Brian and Brian. I was so shocked because I was so sure it was going to be me, because I was messaging Sean and say, "Hey, do you want to be my pair?" And he said, "No, I already have a partner." and then he said, "But maybe you can partner up with Santi." And I was like, "Well," and then I wrote something to Santi and I said, "Are you available?" I didn't get an answer. I was like, "Okay." So then I wrote his Santi's name anyways. And then when you said only 2 people are not safe, and I was just like, "Okay, my game is over. First boot, here I go." And I was like, "Wait." So I found a pair, and we didn't even talk, and we still paired up.
Yeah, great points that you all brought up there. I really made it sure that at least for the beginning of the early seasons, that you cannot pair up with somebody that you have previous connections with, and the best way I can do it is by not pairing up with somebody that you've played in a sequester mini before. But it has then evolved, and I feel like games are becoming more dynamic as well. So I let go of that. Also, Caleb brought up a very great point. When we started Fire Tokens, I incentivized people who are getting a lot of pairs. And looking back at my notes, Sasha in season 2 was the very first person to have 3 people name her as her pair, and I was like, that is a feat. That is something that should be incentivized. So when season 3 comes in, I was like, if you're gonna get at least 3 pairs or more, you're gonna get 4 fire tokens at the beginning of a game, and that is very powerful because with 6 fire tokens, you're able to have your first immunity idol. And I can probably give a shout out to all the people who were able to have made this happen. Geneva in season 3, Ferry in season 4, Khalid and Sindri in season 5, Ben in season 6, and season 9 we have Naveed, Ikra, and Billy. And it gives you an idea of how people will perform, because these are like immediate connections from the DMs. And it's also interesting how you cannot just simply copy paste, because people would be able to easily
Some
see
people,
that.
yeah.
And I feel like the approach has evolved through the seasons as well. Like when I did it in season 4, I did not even think about the fire tokens. I was so surprised to get fire tokens because of that, and I didn't even know why I got those fire tokens in the first place. But I think my approach then was just to touch base with the people that I really want to work with. So I just said hi to Katie, to Muna, to Justine, to Sarah. So
it was just more of like touching base that, hey, we're playing the game and whatsoever. And then what happened was there were just three people who said that, oh, I'm gonna pick you, and I never really got the chance to respond to them that I'm picking them. But I had to make sure that I find a pair there. And it, like, as I saw 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the approaches were very, very different, and they're really like leaning towards the incentive of getting fire tokens rather than, and it's valid, and also touching base with everyone and forming an initial bond with these people that you're going to play with is also valid because it furthers your game down the road.
Yeah, I think this really sets up the tone very much because people get excited receiving those DMs, sending out those DMs, and the round really goes fast. It's just 2 minutes of talking, not even talking, typing. So, and I'm sorry for those who are not the best typers out there. I'm one of those, but it's part of the game. And I also am very interested in how this can evolve because I think at this point people should also start creating bonds, even if it's not just about the pair. I've heard a lot of like great stories from people trying to connect in those muted DM rounds, and they will just leverage on that so that they have that connections once we go on to the next stages of the competition.
It is really fun because it like does push you outside your outside of your realm, because like it's immediately like, okay, we're gonna not talk and just type to each other. Like I remember when I played in season 9, my inbox like filled up so fast, and like now that like Zoom has like the larger version of the chat, and this was less messages, you're just like, oh no, I missed someone or whatever, and like, oh no, will that hurt me or will that help me?
Yeah. I would just like to also remind everybody back in season 2, the final 8 were all pairs.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were in final 10, the 4 pairs with Nadim and Molly were the only 2 who were eligible to get votes because of the twist. And I was like, how were they able to do that? They were really protecting each other. And I think I just really got inspired by the season 2 pairs reaching, because Nadim and Nadim went out first and then Molly came in afterwards. And then the 4 pairs in the final 8 was just like a great thing to see back in season 2. And yeah, I like that twist so much.
Oh, no. I was just going to throw in a joke that this twist is an application in real life on how you can slide into someone's DMs. Renzo is teaching us that.
Yes.
But you seem to be very good at it. You need to teach us.
I just want Renzo to turn his camera just a little bit and just see what's in the background, right?
Very. Yeah. Let's thank Monster Seeking Monsters for that great inspiration.
Yeah, it really is a fun twist just to watch evolve and grow as the seasons have gone on, and as we figured out, like especially you have figured out how to even make the secret pairs twist even better. It's just fun to see how the cast utilizes that in each season, because it's always different. Because like you said, season 2, basically everybody but 2 people were safe, but then the next season I think pretty much everybody was not safe because the pairs went out early. So
yeah, exactly. It's interesting. And one more interesting twist that is like a personal favorite of mine would be the 3 votes or less. And what makes this very interesting is I place it exactly, for example, when in a tribe there's only 7 people, or in a tribe there are only 6 people, and your options now become more controlled because you only have to predict and to see how the other 5 people would vote, and that would incentivize you, if ever your name is out, to vote for yourself. And it's a big game theory dilemma right now. Do you trust your alliance not to flip on you? Would you try to do a 3 versus 3 thing, which has happened a lot of times in this twist? And would you be brave enough to take the risk to try to vote for yourself so that you get to 4 votes, which incentivizes you as well, because you will receive 4 fire tokens if you're able to collect 4 votes or higher. And it has been done multiple times. I want to hear what you think about this twist for those who have played it.
It's a very tricky
It's tough.
Twist. I remember when I played it, it cost me my number one ally to go out of the game in Juliana. But also, it was a wild round just because there were 3 LOSs played during that round. Oh, sorry, idols played during that round. I think what happened was Santi had 3 votes exactly. He played an idol. Muna played an idol, and I played an idol during that round, which caused a tie between Juliana and Nicole, resulting into Juliana being wheeled out of the game. I think that was a time wherein if there's a tie, it goes straight to a wheel.
Yeah.
So discussion times.
When I played it, I tried to get those 4 votes, and I literally was 1 vote away, because I think if you didn't vote, then you could vote, like, have an extra vote in the next round, or you had to, like, it was revenge vote / no vote.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was like a 3 to 1 to 1, and then I went out, and then someone played an LOS, which didn't make it. Someone played an idol that didn't make a difference. But yeah, I remember I tried really hard. I was like, I could get 4 votes, and then I didn't. But it's tough to play. You have to really gather, like, because especially with the way with like fire tokens now, because I saw this play out even in season 8, I think, with like the teams where people, what do you want to do? Like, is it worth it to vote like at the expense of an ally, or take like fire tokens later on too? And just trying to like weigh the decision making like in this game.
And this,
Yeah.
I want to bring that up too, because fire ice tokens were a really great way to build across team bonds too in season 9.
Yeah. And speaking of this twist, mentioning season 8, Brian, that was a very early twist, and I was really put in a really bad scenario, because we were, we started with our teams of 3 before the game started, and my team was in the same tribe as the team with Davy, Flea, and Dash.
Mm-hmm.
When we did this round, and their team all said to me, "Yeah, we're gonna vote out Jen." And I was like, "Why is everyone saying that they're gonna vote out my teammate? Because that means if I vote for my own teammate, she will be safe, because then she'll get 4 votes." So I was just thinking that, okay, are they really just letting me know everything that they're gonna do, so I get all the power to save whoever I want? So I was thinking they must be lying to me. One of them is not gonna vote for Jen, because they were saying you should also vote for Jen. You should also vote for Jen. But why are they inviting me to save my own teammate and losing one of their own? So I was thinking one of them is not gonna vote for her, because. But then they all did vote for Jen, and then I didn't, because I thought that they were all lying to me, and they were so honest that I couldn't believe how honest they were, and I screwed up my team because I didn't trust them. And that was tough. And then after that, it just went downhill for me.
And I like how you say it, because there's really a lot of trust involved in this specific twist. I remember it has happened back in season 3 when Andrew's tribe was trying to put all the votes to Andrew, so that the wheel will decide who would go in their team, and they will get the fire tokens for Andrew. And Andrew was able to get 6 votes, but one person did not vote the same way that they did, ultimately leading to KP's elimination. So, like,
Oh God.
because Andrew got 6 and Katie got 1. So as a game host, that is like a great thing to see when people are really trying to be messy, but also look out for their own games. Game theory is all about I forgot the actual terms, but when you want to collaborate, or when you want to be selfish, or like do your own thing. And there's a lot of those dynamics involved in the entirety of Double Twist, but specifically for this round, I think. And it happened again, I think, in season 7 when Luke was trying to collect all the votes for his tribe. But one person voted for Heart, leading towards Heart's elimination. So the robbery, it is evident. There's still, as much as I want Double Twist to be not very probabilistically involved or stochastic in nature, it still has that certain kind of luck, and sometimes people are robbed. Yeah. And throughout the history of Double Twist, this twist has been paired up with a lot of other twists. Like Brian was saying a while ago, it was paired up with, I think, to vote or not to vote in your days. But now it's often paired up with power of one twist. So basically, if you get 3 votes or higher, you're safe. 4 votes or higher, you are safe, and you get 4 fire tokens. And the second twist that is always often paired up with it is if you get exactly 1 vote, you get 2 fire tokens. And
sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to bring up again about the whole KP thing, because I really think that if Jonathan didn't go against KP, that our tribe of 7 was going to was going to run the game, because we're the only team that we're all us in the us me thing. I remember that. So
yeah.
That round.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of production talks and controversies happening in every elimination of Double Twist, but it makes the game, I guess, more dynamic and more fun for the audience to watch. And at the same time, it kind of forces the players to maneuver around what will I do next after this elimination.
Yeah, this actually makes me reminds me of one of my favorite iconic moments with Double Twist. It was with KW, Sydney, and Zach's tribe back in season 7. Season 7. KW and John Mesa is a big rivalry, and maybe we can talk about that later. But at this point, KW's name is the only name out. So KW got 4 votes. Sydney got 1 vote from somebody else in their tribe, and Zach voted for himself to get that 2 fire tokens. But because KW got 4 votes, she got safe and got the 4 fire tokens, leading to Sydney and Zach's tiebreaker. And the idea is the twist is still the same. 3 votes or lower counts, 4 votes or higher did not count. So on the tiebreaker, 2 people voted for Sydney, 2 people voted for Zach. Sydney voted for herself, and Zach voted for Sydney, leading to Sydney surviving the round and Zach's very robbed elimination. I love Zach so much, but it as a game host, like that was a bingo. Like the twist was made for those moments to happen, because it was basically a big dilemma. Should I vote myself? Should I not? But it depends on whether the other person would vote for themselves or not. And at that point, of course, luck is involved. Sydney was successful, and Zach was robbed. But it was I really appreciate Zach taking that risk though, and it just did not pull off. But I was like, that is one of my favorite moments when it was happening. I was like, ah. And now when they go back to the tribe, like I cannot imagine how KW is reacted to her tribe, and then Sydney trying to determine who threw a vote on her and whatnot. Yeah. Any other memories that you have with 3 votes or lower for the production team?
Season 8. I think it was between Sam and Trav.
Oh yeah.
When Sam's name was out there, he got 3 votes, and I think Sam voted for himself to get the 4th vote, and I think Trav went out with 1 or 2 votes.
So I remember this so bad because I love Travis so much, and I was like crying inside when it happened. And as a host, I'm trying to be more objective, people. I'm trying, but I think what happened was that their team was outnumbered, so their team had just 2 people left. There were 3 people in the other team, and of course, because season 8's concept was a little bit more different than all the other games, because everybody started with teams of 3, and then there's always 1 person from the winning team for every round who would go to each tribe to have a vote, but they will be safe. So that person was the other 4 on the other side, and you have Sam and Travis on this side. what these four people did, two people voted for Sam, two people voted for Travis. So they split the vote, giving them most chance of not any of them being eliminated. And I think that's a smart way to do it, because the best that Sam and Travis can do is vote together, and it's going to be a triple tie, and they can just break the tie easily. But what Travis did, which I think is smart, it just did not work off, was he voted for Sam, but Sam voted for himself. So making Sam's number of votes 4 and Travis just 2, leading to Travis elimination. I mean, like, those moments are like the moments that you want to see when people are really playing hard to stay in the game. And I was so proud of like Sam also going so far in season 8, because like I think his name was just been always mentioned or like thrown around after that twist, but he managed to maneuver through the end. I think final 4, give or take. Yeah. Any other thoughts for that twist? I would like to apologize though. Like the early version of this twist is that the second twist is that there are no tiebreakers. It goes directly to the wheel, and this led to like painful eliminations. And I said that's probably not the best way to do it. So I dropped it out. Although I think in season 6 it caused like 2 tiebreakers with Shannon being wheeled out, which was very unfortunate. Good thing she was able to come back in the show. So I think what happened there was people weren't able to come up with a clear name. So there was a 2-2-2-1-1 tie. And then when they did their revote, one person got 4 votes and the other 2 got 2 each, or something along those lines. And then we went on a wheel, leading to Shannon's elimination. But Shannon ended up winning the buyback, and I love her story arc in Double Twist, considering that I eliminated her in Pyramid Scheme, like in the very first game that she played in the community. Yeah. I mean, I think we can. Yeah.
Marcel was good out too of that twist.
Yeah. That was in season 5, I think, when he was on a tie with Jace. Both of them had 3, because Marcelo was fighting from season 1. I think Jace was fighting from season 3, and 3 people from season 1 gave their votes to Jace. 3 people from season 3 gave their votes to Marcelo. They ended up in a tie, going on a wheel, and Marcelo was a very sad casualty because Marcelo did so well. Marcelo and Brian Ferrello were like one of the reasons why I got really inspired by Double Twist, because they were so unconnected at these and that cast, but they managed to surprise me, and I love that. And it was just like very fun to see them having fun when playing the game. Okay, maybe we can go to the next twist, and this gave to a big iconic moment. It is a twist inspired by Sequester, the safety exile round. I've managed to put it sometimes in Final 8 or Final 7 or Final 6. But I started using it in Season 2 when Dina and Ian's rivalry was formed. Does anybody want to take over and explain what happened? For those who remember.
I wasn't in Season 2 yet.
Season, I don't know.
Okay, I can just start it because I think this really established the prestige Double Twist had when this happened. So Dina was the first boot back in season 2. It was a scheme. Apparently, she wanted to help the tribe, and she was like, "Just vote me out. I'll do my best to return for the buyback." And we had another buyback in that game, and Ian was the second buyback winner. So we had 2 buyback winners with Dina and Ian. And season 2 had lots of internal rivalries because I think season 2 is probably one of the most over-the-top personalities in one cast that we had as a general cast. And when they reached Final 8 or Final 7, we had that twist Safety Exile. Exactly. I think she faked being mad. Thanks, Kayla, for saying that. So at Safety Exile, the four people who went to the on Exile was Ian, Robin, Bethany, and Dina. Dina and Bethany were a pair. So at that point, at least we know that Dina would have, and Robin and Ian were a pair. So there were actually two pairs in the Exile. And it all started with Ian saying that he has an idol, which he had, and he's gonna play it. So don't try to put votes on him because you're just gonna waste your vote. And I don't think that Dina and Bethany know that Ian and Robin were a pair. I don't think Ian and Robin know that Dina and Bethany were a pair. But the first votes were a tie between Dina and Ian, but Ian did not play his idol. So that incentivized Robin to go against her partner, Ian, and which led to Ian's demise. I thought that seeing it, it was just groundbreaking. Like I've never seen anything like that before because those are like big personality people and they were really fighting hard to stay in the game. I like their passion. I think Ian was smart. Was trying to make a big move on that so that come final six, he still has the idol that can protect himself. The risk that just did not pay off, and I would like to commend, as much as I hate to say it, Dina being able to master the narrative that Ian will never play his idol at that point, calling him a liar, and it just led to like the biggest rivalry ever. And it was fun to watch. It was fun. It was a little bit tense to watch as a viewer because you know how passionate Ian and Dina can get, but
Yeah.
it was everything. Does anybody want to add?
I also remember season 8 with, I think that was Dash, Migs, Kayla, and who's the other one?
Flea.
And Flea at Exile. So it was between Migs and Kayla, right? And I think it was kind of public knowledge then that Migs has an extra vote.
Yeah.
But what surprised us was after the initial vote, Kayla draw her double vote card. She had an extra vote too, and that resulted into a tie between Kayla and Migs. So Dash, I think, sided with Migs at the time, and then Flea sided with Kayla. And at the tiebreaker, Dash could, because Dash and Flea were in a team together. So I think Flea had the incentive to vote with Dash at the time, and that led to Kayla's elimination.
All right. I got to introduce one more person because we do have one member of the production team here. If you know him, you love him, Lewis Thorpe.
Lewis.
Hey.
Hey, Lewis.
An icon of season 1 as well. Yeah. Since
I was going to say, speaking of this twist, season 1 also had this twist.
Yeah, but before we go to Lewis, because that was a big Lewis moment.
That was a huge Lewis moment. So perfect timing.
Yeah.
Season 8 with Dash and Kayla, Migs and Flea. I really like the dynamics of what happened there because Kayla just protected Dash the round before because Kayla was part of the dominant team with Kayla, Ben, and Isabel. And I liked Isabel's and Dash rivalry. That was so surprising. But I think Isabel and Ben brought up Dash name. And during the main room session, Kayla mentioned it. That's why Dash played his idol to protect himself at Final 9. And at Final 8, when the exile happened, Dash found himself with Kayla, with Migs, and him and Migs were playing a lot together because Migs was teammates with Jules, and Jules and Dash were close friends. So I think Dash and Migs really had something going on, and Dash and Flea were in the same team with Fairy as their captain. So I really thought that was interesting because Dash could really go anyway, a lot of ways. I think even Kayla and Flea were paired, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure. So there's just a lot, and that's for me the beauty of double twists, because like even the twists the round before have an effect on how you build trust with somebody in terms of socializing. And what happened in that Excel round with Dash, Kayla, Migs, and Flea, where it was just iconic. I'm proud of Flea as well. Flea in that round was a shining surprise for me. I saw her in season 6. I saw her in season 8, and the evolution. I was shocked. I was like, yes.
Flea's been the most consistent player, I think, of all the seasons. I think Flea's been the most consistent around and has surprised a lot of us too. And they've played hard every time and they've killed it.
Yeah. Mark as well. Mark has made jury both times. Flea, I think, has made jury both times. And it's a feat.
I did go out this way in Exile from someone I thought I was working with, who I was down to work with till the end, Dan Alt, who I always want to work with, and that sucked.
Yeah, I think going back season 1, and we gonna Mark. Do you want to elaborate more on the Excel round of your
mistake of I thought I was good with almost everyone, and then I didn't do the whole, like, 'cause I was the first one to get to pass the Excel. So I'd be like, hey, you're going to Exile with me, we're going to put together. I didn't do that, so that's where I messed up, and hopefully I don't get back to Exile.
Yeah, but it's an interesting twist, and I feel like a lot of people have talked about it. Would you rather bring your allies in the Exile, or and save people that you don't need? Just
and two people were people I was definitely working with in my mind. So yeah.
Yeah, and this, as Jess was saying, this was really spicy back in season 1. Jess and Lewis, or Rasmus, if any of you want to like talk about it.
Lewis, do you remember?
I feel like Lewis has the most experience with it.
Here's the thing, I don't remember too much. I don't remember many games. I remember that one round though, because the ball wasn't in my court that round, so it came down to, I think it came down to, I can't remember. I know me and Neve, I'm assuming there was other people in there as well.
Rachel and Rasmus.
Rachel and Rasmus, yeah.
Ashley and Brian were safe. And then the 4 people in Exile was me, Lewis, Rachel, and Neve. So it was 3, 7, 11, and versus Neve, basically. But it ended up in a tie. So someone did not want to work with the 7-Eleven. And I think, I don't remember who it was. Was it me or was it Rachel? Well, the thing, it ended up in a tie.
It was Rachel and Lewis voted for Neve, Rasmus and Neve voted for Lewis.
Yeah.
Yes. But I knew that would result in a tie because, and then I think that there was actually the round before Lewis left.
Yes, it was. I left the round immediately after that.
And then I said to Rachel, well, I don't want to create a tie, so you can make the decision on who you want to cut. Basically making her looking bad because she's the one who has the final decision. And I tried to come out of this round, just be a little messy, but then having Rachel take the heat for it, which kind of worked. Unfortunately, I didn't make the final 2, so I couldn't really talk about that. But that's another story. But it was a messy round, and it was the start of 11. Just
I
can't, the beginning of a 7-Eleven.
I can't make sense of how 7-Eleven just didn't stay strong with each other at that point. But it's worth mentioning, yes, me and Neve got pretty heated at that point in the game. I found it's because me and Neve were in a starting alliance, so we were like a starting room alliance. Like the first room we were like, starting room alliance. So when I saw Neve was working with other people as well, I saw reason to like get heat on him and be like, but what about this alliance? What about that alliance? And then things just got heated from there. And I think that was a great ploy to survive that round. But then
it really got heated. Like I can still remember it, and I was so concerned about
I'm very
you
passionate. Yeah,
with the game. But I think it also brought up a lot of great things because we can see now that people do really can fight for their lives and like things in double twist. And second, like that was a surprise for me because I was like expecting Neve to leave. And I love Neve so much, but at that point it's like Neve was able to do that, and people are more fluid and dynamic when you give them the chance to do so. And that's why I like that moment so much. It really gave me that hope that even people who are not that connected can go far. If you just give them a lot of references that they can push in the past, like in the twists, in the previous rounds, for Neve to be able to make that happen and make his case that
Yeah.
I think he was making a good argument that if all 7-Eleven will just go through the end, you don't have any resume points because everybody will have the same resume
Yeah,
at the
that's also
end.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just quickly need to add, yeah, because that round Neve left, and then Lewis left the round after, because as we said, we were realizing it's not gonna be very fun if it's just 7-Eleven just
Yeah. I was
taking
just
out all the other people. But yeah, I
Yeah.
was planning the whole time for Neve to leave that round, even though I initially voted for Lewis, because earlier in the game, Neve had put me on the block during one of the HOH rounds, and I was just waiting for an opportunity to get back at him without it looking like I really wanted to get back at him. That's why I was the one who flipped, making my case that, at least because I don't want a wheel, not the case of I really want to get Neve out, so that I could still have Neve's good graces in case I would make it to the final two. But I knew that I wanted Neve out. I just wanted to start with a tie so they wouldn't look as bad.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other moments from the Exile twist? Yeah, I think we should go to the next twist, which is also I have lots of favorites as you can see. But this is the fifth wheel, and the inspiration, and often have this at Final Five. The inspiration of this twist is the first game that I got inspired from. Charlie had this twist in his game, and he just basically the concept is one person will be chosen to be safe randomly, and the other four people left will be paired randomly, and then this person will choose a pair that they want to be safe, and then those three people will have the sole votes to evict versus the two remaining people. And this twist has been used differently all the times. Like we have so many iconic moments. First, anybody who wants to like share some iconic moment from that fifth? And wait, Charlie did not call it fifth wheel. I just call it fifth wheel, but that was Charlie's twist.
I remember this at season 5 that resulted into Humby's elimination. Like, as someone in the production team, we were like, oh, Royden and Humby are clearly aligned here, so I think Humby's good, even if he's nominated. And ultimately, he went out. I think this twist is a good indication of how the end game will play and who will take it home. I think this is a good twist as well to reassess your alliances, because you're at Final Five and you kind of have to think which one of these people will take me to the end or who I will win against in the end. So I do think this is an interesting twist to have at Final Five, because it can either elevate your game or it can also switch up the dynamics of the whole game.
Yeah, agreed. Like when the first time I played it, I thought that it was amazing, and this twist has been played differently, as I mentioned. I can remember Jocelyn playing it so flawlessly in season 6. She named the target and it pulled off. And it could also go the other way. I remember Brandon being the fifth wheel in season 7. Is that right? And that was an interesting dynamic because I know that Brandon and Chanel were a pair, not a pair, but they were closely working together. And the other people there was Ryan Elder. Am I missing? Let's look at my notes.
Jonathan.
Hmm?
Is this Jonathan Aldana?
Oh, Jonathan Aldana, exactly. And
Ashley.
Yes. And we know that Ryan and Ashley were working together closely as well. And I think Brandon wanted Ryan out at that point. So he saved, even if he's working very closely with Chanel, he saved Jonathan Aldana and Ashley in the hopes that he would get their favor to vote out Ryan instead of Chanel. But it totally backfired when Jonathan Aldana and Ashley had their other agenda and completely flipped the script in eliminating Chanel. It was everything. Like I haven't seen Jonathan Aldana play for a long time before that. But when I saw him maneuver his way in convincing Brandon to save him, just to get that favor as well, going to Final Four, which I think is very smart as well, was everything. And then Ryan doing his magic at that Final Five, completely flipping the script, ultimately leading to Chanel's elimination. And I love Chanel. It was a robbery, but as a viewer, it was a strong Final Five nonetheless. And I thought that everybody was playing well at that point. Yeah, Brandon just said that he's never been so shocked in a game because even everybody, I think, the production was also very shocked with how it all turned out.
I remember that.
And I had go.
Oh, sorry, I was gonna say because I also went out on this twist in season 1, and I remember that I think Rachel told me this, that if like the pairs were different, if I was paired with Ashley instead, or if I was paired with someone else instead, then I wouldn't have gone in that spot. So a lot of it also depends on like who you're paired with, as far as like which pair you save and then which pair is voting then.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you're a bit unlucky in that round because Ashley was the one safe, and then me and Rachel ended up as a pair, and you and Khalid ended up as a pair. So then Ashley chose to give votes to me and Rachel, which was unfortunate. So I think it was unlucky that you ended up with Khalid, basically.
Yeah.
But that was good for his game at that point, because then he ended up made it out of exile to get Ashley out. Then ultimately ended up winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you good for him.
I also remember Sparks in his season. I think he played us so well as well. Him and Jocelyn, I think, had great ideas on how to play this twist. But I've also seen other players who are not the fifth wheel do some magic of whatever they have. And I received some feedback that, yes, this twist needs some maneuvering or like tweaking, because it actually gives a lot of power for the person who the wheel randomly decides to be the fifth wheel. So I think at the end, latter seasons, what I tried to do was make it a competition, and the winner would be the fifth wheel. But before that, yes, I agree. And I think this just like also gives us an idea of how the production team and I evolves the twist. If we see a twist that is kind of unfair or not really making sense, I think even at one point I was like, I'm gonna make like while the game was happening, I'm gonna change this twist. This twist doesn't make sense. Why is it like that?
And that's the thing, is like you don't know how a twist. I mean, you could like speculate like how a twist may play out, but we don't know like with fire tokens that like 5 idols are gonna be played at a time, or like certain twists are gonna play out a certain way. So like you tweak things like as they play out, and sometimes that depends on the cast too that you have.
Yeah, I think it heavily depends on the cast, because the messier the cast, the more fire tokens are in play. Because you get incentivized by being messy, by voting randomly or whatever. So, yeah. And we've definitely seen this in season 4 when people were just so messy all around with all the fire tokens controlling a big majority of the game. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to hop off early. I know I've only been in here brief, but I'm gonna have to hop off. Yes, follow me. And also, I wanted to bring up. I can't wait because Big Brother Culture Clash, my game, is going to have representatives of Double Twist, 2 winners from Double Twist. They know who they are already. So yeah, check that out as well. But also Double Twist 10 winners versus runner-up. It's gonna be lit. So I can't wait to be on production for that. See everyone.
Thank you, Luis.
Bye.
Bye, Lewis.
Okay, maybe going on to the next twist, if that's okay with everybody. This is like a big twist. This is really what made Double Twist, the Ghost HOH. And I would say full credit of this twist, I really got inspired by Austin's BB Mini. This was his idea. I played in Austin's BB Mini back in season 2. I remember, am I correct? Season 2 or season 3? Like one of the early seasons. And I really thought that this was an interesting way to heat up the game. And it became more interesting when I added the fire token aspect of it. So for the longest time, the setup has been if you have the most fire tokens, well, in season 9, there was the fire or ice tokens. At the round right before jury or the round right before final 10, 9, 8, depending on the season, you'll be the Ghost HOH and you're going to be able to anonymously nominate 4 people on the block, where 2 people out of those 4 people would be leaving. And I think we have so much to talk about it here. Does anybody want to start?
I mean, I would talk about it from firsthand experience in season 4. And first and foremost, there were 4 or 5 idle plays before.
There were 5, I'm pretty sure.
5. I played 2 on myself and Tracy. There was a play on, I think, Dylan Cassidy. Another one was Nicole, and was there another one?
Khaled, I think, also played.
Taylor, yes. So that very much kind of like filtered the nomination choices. And to our surprise, the big 4 were nominated.
Yeah.
Katie, Muna, Justine, and Jacob Sparks were all nominated for that round, resulting into Muna and Katie's elimination.
Yeah.
It was just a lot to take. I would preface that I was running for Ghost HOH too, because I do know that there have been threats putting up Muna and Sparks, and I wanted to protect them at that round. So I think I convinced Tracy and Carolina to put all their fire tokens on me for that round. But then, round prior to that, Sindri went out. Sindri had 10 fire tokens, all spilled on Robbie. Robbie becomes Ghost HOH, and that's what happened.
Yeah. Fun fact about that, I was supposed to be one of those nominees, but Robbie didn't realize that I was eligible to be nominated.
I thought that Jess played an idol as well.
Yeah,
because we had to all turn off our cameras before he made his decision.
It was a crazy round.
It was crazy.
if I remember correctly, were you the only one who was eligible to be nominated that wasn't nominated? Oh, I think so, right? I
There
think
were 2 of them. I think Carolina was eligible.
K-Pow, I think, as well.
K-Pow,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So
I was wrong.
It's all good, but there weren't a lot of choices. So
No.
and like as a host, announcing those nominations were hard to be poker face because I love all of them, obviously. And it was like, is this really happening? Is this really happening? Yes, I have to announce it. And then but the 4 of them really fought because the other twist with Ghost HOH will always be the highest and lowest non-zero. I made a tweak in one season, but regularly it has been like that. And how do you strategize that? Like even I myself, it's hard to maneuver. Mark, you've survived 2 rounds I think you're the only one who can say that you've survived it both times.
I do not know how it happened, especially the second time. Because in the first time, the first time it was myself, Andrew, Geneva,
Marjorie.
Oh yeah, Marjorie. And I was just, oh god, it was the worst. It was JD also, not
Yeah, JD.
And I was just like, I don't know how to game this. I had a strong idea who it was, and that helped me get them out the next round. And then in season 9, I think like half the people I was working with were nominated. No, like 3. Yeah, like because because
you,
Dan Alt, who I was working with, but
Chris was nominated too,
Yeah.
and I think Julie went out that round.
Yes, Julie.
yeah, and like it was just like I was pushing Julie because I feel like that was the best thing. Like I'm like I think people will vote for them because the fact that they haven't done as much, and I feel like I have more inroads, which was true. I think, but like I do not know how I survived it twice. Like it's
I treat those round as crapshoot. Like, I mean, I haven't experienced being nominated in such round, but like, as a voter, I would never know what to expect during that round because I remember my season there was a tie for the highest vote. It was Katie and Justine, right? So we were just like, you know what, like let's just see what happens here and move forward.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's so hard to campaign in that round because like if you campaign too hard, you might get a vote, but if you don't campaign hard enough, then you might get a vote. You know, like I think the best thing to do is like let your allies know you are my ally, and I hope that you keep me safe.
Yeah, because they for sure have more information than you do. Because people will not tell you how the other people are voting. So I think you were right. I would commend JD, and I think he was also nominated both times he played. He was nominated by the Ghost HOH. The first time he was there was with Mark. He got 0 votes, and I think he's the only one who was able to do that ever in the history of Double Twists. That's why we invited him back in season 5. And season 5, he was again nominated by the Ghost HOH, but he won vote.
One vote.
So it was almost perfection. Just imagine that you're gonna be able to have the feat that you got both 0 votes when you were nominated for Ghost HOH, but it's just one vote.
I hate it. It's like the one that makes me not want to play the game again, but I fucking love the game anyway. So,
and I think this round kind of plays out from the moment that you start playing the game until that actual round, because you are accumulating as much fire tokens as you want to be the Ghost HOH. So it's not as if that this round is just happening at this very moment. It's a build up from round 1 until it actually happens.
Because you always announces it too.
Yep.
He's like, hey, the person who has most fire tokens is going to be good with HOH in like 6 rounds. Best of luck.
Yeah.
Like,
so it's in a way either going to be a payoff of your hard work in collecting fire tokens from the very start, or it's just you depending on luck if you're not the Ghost HOH, hoping that you won't get nominated or you haven't really painted a big target on your back before going into that round.
And what sucked is Dina and I and a couple of the people I think gave all of our tokens to Stan so he can be Ghost HOH and keep us safe.
And we cannot forget to discuss that Stan being the very first person to reject a Ghost HOH.
I flipped the fuck out, and then I found out like the person nominated me still was someone I was working with. I thought.
Does anybody want to describe what happened in season 9 Ghost HOH? I think that's also one of the most iconic moments ever.
Yeah, I mean, Stan, I think, worked so hard to get as much fire and ice tokens as he wanted. But when the round came, I think he had 12 fire and ice tokens. And he opted not to take, because if you're the Ghost HOH, you have to surrender all of your tokens, so you're back to 0. And he chose to purchase 2 idols instead of being Ghost HOH, leading to Ikra being the Ghost HOH that round. That was never revealed until the game ended. I think Ikra played that Ghost HOH round flawlessly, and making sure that she injects herself in the situation that, oh, I might get nominated here and whatsoever. And I think that's a huge thing as well, being Ghost HOH. Like, you have to protect your identity, because
you will be found out like Greg was, and get out immediately. Especially if you're not.
Yeah, I was gonna say that if people find out that you're the Ghost HOH, it's gonna put a big target on your back, because it allows you to make big moves within the game because of your hidden identity.
And your capability to collect those tokens. You were right, Ferry. I like the meta speaking aspect of it, because it's a journey to be the Ghost HOH. It will not just take you taking it yourself. You have to strategize to be the Ghost HOH if you want it. Like for instance, with Sindri, it did not just pay off. He was like 1 round before the Ghost HOH, and he was saving all his tokens to be able to have that feat. But it was just unfortunate. He was and like when you have those fire tokens in your hand and you feel like the HOH might nominate you, would you want to play an idol? There's just a lot of thinking that you have inside the game, which I think makes it very more complex and interesting, and how everything is connected, but at the same time not that connected. And you have unlimited decisions that you have to make every round, which makes the game tiring. I think I can see it in everybody playing, like at around Final 7, Final 6. Everybody just tired because of the layers of decisions that they have to do with their fire tokens, whether would they buy it, collect it, what to say to the players, how to strategize with the players, how to socialize with the players, on top of the 2 twists that are in play, and all those long connections. Like, how many pairs are still there? Is my pair really my pair? Sometimes there's that long bounty twist. Sometimes there's like the twist that has the most dominant number of teammates left in the game. It's just a lot that makes it a big puzzle piece, and everything is a decision. And I like that mental aspect of the game. And I haven't played it, but I can see it. I can see people playing it. Well,
I think that
is when Stan passed up Ghost HOH, he almost lost 2 people that he was definitely the closest with, which was myself and Dan Alt. And then after we got to the jury, me and Dan went out one after another, and then Stan went out. So I think that if Stan did not pass up, I actually think Stan would have had a better shot of winning the game instead of coming in 6th.
I think this round is a game-defining round for everyone in the game, whether you're Ghost HOH or whether you're a nominee or whether you're one of the voters. It paints, or it kind of illustrates how the lines are drawn into the different groups in the game as you move forward to the next phase, which is the jury phase.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I echo what Mark is saying. It's definitely a dilemma whether you think you're well insulated, that you don't need to be the Ghost HOH. Like, even whoever you are with, you're going to go for. Because I think Stan was also working with Julie. I don't know where I got that, but I got that feeling that Stan and Julie were also close in that game. And Julie was a surprise in that game. Really, I was fascinated by her the entire time. And yes, I don't think Stan made the wrong decision per se. It's basically just a matter of taking that risk. Because if he, for example, played the immunity idols at round 8 or round 7, when final 8 and final 7, he could have still gone further. It was just a lot of risks. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Brian, do you have anything to say? I felt like you were about to say
No,
something.
I don't think it's the worst move to take the idols versus taking the Ghost HOH. I know that's the popular opinion in taking the Ghost HOH because basically you could dictate two people going out, but it also kind of could expose like who that person is going forward, and people could find out who that is and kind of use that as a reason to take somebody out too later on.
Yeah. I think we were just more of like observing on how decisions in this round paid off as the game went by. So yeah, I agree. It wasn't a bad decision. It's just that we were thinking what it could have been if we took the Ghost HOH.
Yeah.
With trivia, Jess was the only was my original production person ever since Double Twist started, and season 8 is the only season that you miss, right?
Season 9 is
Sorry,
the only
season
one.
9 is the only one you
I only
missed.
missed season 2. I've been for every other season or I played.
Yeah. You're running, you're all in that running. But anyways, going back to when that happened. Wait, I would just like to shout out to all our Ghost HOH because having that feat is everything. The very first one was Greg, and then Robbie followed, Malcolm, Jonathan, Ben, and Ikra. They've all played it very differently, and that is an accomplishment being a Ghost HOH.
Yeah.
How about the others? Do you have any favorite moments during, or who are your favorite Ghost HOHs during those rounds?
I mean, not to put a target, but I think that set the whole game of Ben in season 8. It just the way that he played it, leading from the first round, leading to the Ghost HOH to the jury phase was just flawless. It never painted a target on his back. I don't know how he did it, but he did it so really well.
Yeah, I can see that. I can also say Humby and Jonathan were also great Ghost HOHs. I remember John with Jonathan, I wasn't expecting that because I feel like he wasn't really connected to the community as much and he hasn't played for a long time. But he was able to do it. And with Humby, I don't think everybody was even thinking that Humby was a Ghost HOH up until like we revealed that Humby was a Ghost HOH. So, and Ikra as well. Ikra, amazing. The very first woman Ghost HOH. And I like how people play it. How about
I forgot to say that Robbie changed the course of the game in season 4 as Ghost HOH. I mean, it did not work for my favor as a player. But at the same time, all of a sudden, jury phase comes. Robbie is the biggest target in the game. I think it was just incredible how he flipped the whole script and making sure that his decisions were gonna be in his favor.
I agree with that. I mean, I appreciate that he forgot to put me up, but at the same time, like just seeing how he handled that Ghost HOH, putting up 4 very big targets for people that you wouldn't, you would think that, oh, you should probably put them up here, and he did that, and then also helping to further his own game by doing that and getting farther than he might have if he had not been Ghost HOH was actually phenomenal to play with and phenomenal to watch and hear about afterwards. So
yeah, I was the one who was counting the votes for that round when I was like, I'm about to send the results to Renzo that Katie and Moona are out of here. And I'm like,
Not
the vote.
yeah.
Immediately.
We had like a lot of different other twists inside Double Twist, but those are like my personal favorites. How about
I could just put in as well, ever since I went into production, and this has been always my favorite round, even if it's the most stressful round as the vote counter. It all started in season 5. That was my very first season. Very first season to go on prod. the vote to save meets now or later.
Yes.
Oh, I don't even have the words for that. There's just so many ways to play that round.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it is a round that defines the line without showing the line. um, I remember at season 8 when the talks during the first round was, I think, leaning towards whose elimination. I forgot who was
I
supposed
think
to be eliminated.
Sam bombs name, and because Sam's name is always out. I think his
Yeah,
name was the
it's
first
either
out.
Sam or Pranoy or Migs.
Yeah, I can see.
And then all of a sudden, we were all surprised that Jules was eliminated that round. Um, it was because of one vote to eliminate from Isabel, and people not committing to. Because I think when the round ended, there were at least 3 people committing to vote to save Jules during that round, or Dash, and then Dash threw a save to Jules, um, and then people just threw their votes onto someone else, and then Isabel with the vote to eliminate to Jules. It was very. I was as surprised as Jules was when the votes were revealed.
Talking about the meta of that twist, my idea when I started creating that was combining two twists that are not that combined. But I think these two twists are very good with each other because at a specific round, you can protect your allies, but at the same time, you have that thinking: should I use my vote to evict right now or vote to save? Because either way, they would save your ally. They would save yourself. It's because the only thing is you cannot save your own self. So that would probably incline you to use your vote to save when you don't think that you're gonna get eliminated anyways. But it has we can talk about all the other people who have done it very like in different multiple ways. But I just like that dilemma of should I use my vote to save or vote to evict? And how do I protect my allies if I can? Because specifically with what happened with Jules and with that round was, I think a lot of people also put votes on Sam, but Sam also got some votes to save. And it only took one vote to evict um, uh, for Jules to leave. And it was so entertaining to watch. I love Jules. I'm so grateful that Jules even played my game. But that was for me like the biggest blindside as a host as well. Because Jules even said, Isabel, I want to work with you. Isabel, tell me how to vote. And I did not know that Isabel and Sam probably had like I cannot even remember, but Isabel was working with somebody else, probably Megs. And when that was happening, I was so surprised that Jules was the one who did that. I mean, Isabel did that. Isabel was working with somebody else, probably Megs. And when that was happening, I was so surprised. I know somebody. Anyways, yeah, that was like so entertaining to watch. And one more for that is back in season 5 when we all started it. That was probably one of the messiest round ever. Um, I'm looking at my notes, and it's like with Caleb, Royden, Nadim, Jace, Humby, and Annie. Because all of their names went out. I feel like everybody was getting votes in that round. It was so hard to like watch, and that's also like showing like the rivalry of Jace and Royden. But it was so entertaining to watch when it was happening, and it's the first time that we did that. The second time we did that was with Shannon having the own. I'm going all over because I have so many iconic moments with here. But just going last with Shannon. Shannon had the only vote to evict at the later round. So she basically, and everybody else who survived had a vote to save. What happened, interestingly, was everybody paired up to vote to save their pairs. Lide, and when it was happening, I was so scared for Shannon because that would mean that she would be on a tie with somebody else that she's voting for. Because if everybody's getting -1 vote, the person that Shannon would be voting would receive 1, and I would receive 0, and it would be a tie with Shannon not receiving any vote, which really happened, leading to I think it was Ben's elimination, because Shannon voted for Ben, and so Ben got 0, Shannon got 0 on a retie. People voted out Ben.
Yeah. I also remember season 5 adding complexity to the save and vote to eliminate factors. Was Jace's extra vote that came in the picture. I mean, I think she used it on the second round. Because if you do have an extra vote, I think you can either choose to. Am I right, Renzo? Either save or eliminate.
Yeah, use it on the second vote for another save vote.
Yeah. So I just love this round just because like there are a lot of pathways to navigate this round, and this is actually one of the rounds where I think no one is guaranteed safety.
Yeah. Annie had 9 lives in season 5. I remember, like, oh, Annie is so she's doing it. I think that's one of the best games that I've seen her play. And her friendship alliance with Jace was a great thing to see, because it was just the two of them against the world, and they somehow were able to maneuver their way to the end. Yeah, I also remember season 9, the big Owen and Stan moment during the vote, during this vote. Does anybody want to describe what happened there?
It was like a weird tie situation, right? Like, because I know like a couple of them had negative votes and some of them had positive votes, and they were just trying to like tell their allies like, "You're good if you keep me. Please keep me." And I think Owens was a little bit more of like also like vote stand out. He's going to win the game. So
yeah, that was interesting, because everybody, I think at least 2 people were lying if they really voted to evict or voted to save. So nobody can decode what would be the best way for them to vote, because nobody was even telling the truth with how they voted the round before, or like how they're voting right now. It was everything, and people were still on that heated tension of like, this person is running the game. And Owen was amazing in that, because he was able to like survive a lot of rounds before that, and he was able to pull some heartstrings and making sure that he goes further and further every round. But it was everything when I was watching it. Yeah.
The spotlight was all on Owen, and I was so shocked how it looked like for a couple of rounds, oh, he's gonna be Owen, oh, he's gonna be Owen, oh, he's gonna be Owen, and then like, nope.
Yeah, pretty much all
9 lives.
out. It was like Owen. Because remember, like in the round that Jack went out, it was almost Owen too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of like tracing back on like who's lying and who is not, it's hard to do that because Renzo doesn't announce how many votes to save were used and how many votes to eliminate were used. It was just like the net result of the save votes and the eliminate votes. So it's also like a really good round to make some big moves in the game.
Yeah.
And also define your end game too, like how you will present yourself in the jury or how you will defend yourself getting to the end of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other twists out there that you want to talk about or mention?
I didn't have any twists necessarily, but I did want to talk about just like how people play like idols and how people use like fire tokens in general without getting like too in detail. I wanted to bring up how like Sydney
the advantages in the game.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up how like Sydney played like 3 idols successfully, like in different games. Like she had her back against the wall multiple times. But just people decide how to use fire tokens if they want to use like if they want to transfer them or if they want to use like the blockers or the extra votes. And kind of how people play things differently.
Speaking of the advantages, I remember in season 5, it was the first drag, I think, before going into jury, when after I think Tyler and Caleb were nominated, and 5 idol blockers were used on Tyler only.
Wow.
So regardless if he had an idol or not, his idol will be blocked.
If he had like 5 idols.
He needed
Yeah.
6 idols.
6 titles to be safe.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I guess if we're talking about advantages, I think those were one of the very few moments where idol blockers were used effectively in the game. We had one from last season where 2 idol blockers were played on Jennifer, but Jennifer had 2 idols to save herself and still keep herself immune.
I think only one. Only one was used for Jennifer, but she had 2. So one was not
Exactly.
notified. Also, Pranoy was notified. So it was back in season 8. During the Ghost HOH round, somebody fully played an idol blocker in Pranoy, and Pranoy was so excited to announce it, but it was blocked, and then he wasn't nominated. It was it was everything. That was entertaining to watch. Going back to Sydney, because I think one of my favorite players to ever play double twist. She had 3 very successful idol players. She was like in the middle of a lot of tiebreakers that she dominated. She was an HOH once. I think she just always gets unlucky, but it was always fascinating to see Sydney play double twist. You know that there's something big always coming. I'm sorry if she gets stressed because it would be super stressful to be in her position. Idol players. There's a lot of idol players, and double twist is a part of the game itself. Very first one that I remember that made an impact was Medi playing it on Kayla back in season 2. That really put a lot, and because I wasn't even expecting that. And back then, LOS idols were not used publicly. It was we call it LOS back then because of sequester. And it was and Kayla was so surprised that somebody played it on her, and everybody was thinking it was Humby who did that. So leading to Humby's elimination the round after, or during the same round. I don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun seeing idol plays publicly, just because it's also a gauge where the lines are, who would react good and who would like take it on a negative light.
Also, people have said it like at the same time before, and like, trying to determine like who said. There was one season I think where like 2 people tried to say it at the same time.
I remember that.
It's always interesting how
5 in 1 round also.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's always interesting how idols are played during Ghost HOH rounds.
Yeah.
One of our most famous lines with Caleb saying, "I don't play with ghosts." that is everything. Also, Double Twist is very known with all the wild tiebreakers. Season 6 had 6 tiebreakers. Season 7 had 7 tiebreakers. And every time it happens, I'm like, why are you always ending up on a tie? Can we not be on a tie? Because we spend so much time trying to break the tie. But yeah, 7 tiebreakers and 6 tiebreakers. Those are our biggest ones. But we had lots of like spicy tiebreaker. One fresh memory of mine was the Jonathan Aldana versus Dash, but it was actually Dylan who was on the block, like whose name was out. So it was basically Jonathan's team versus Dylan's team, and Dash sided with Dylan's team because of Jules and Migs, and Jonathan bought an extra vote. So it's ended up with like a 4-4 tie. And it was just very fascinating and exciting to see very early rounds people getting passionate and try to survive the game. Spoiler alert: Jonathan went to win the buyback. I think, right? Yes. But I thought that Jonathan played that so well. He used his fire tokens to buy an extra vote because he knows that he would not be able to get Dash's vote. I think that was very well played.
I just have to quickly just say that I love how we're talking about this game almost as it has been 40 seasons like Survivor. But it's only been 9 seasons. We have so much to talk about. It just shows how much has happened and the layers of this game and how crazy it is.
Yeah, because it's just been so like 9 seasons, 5 to 6 hours. That's at least 45 hours of gameplay, 45 hours of content, 45 hours of something happening.
Right.
So,
I do think that this attests to how passionate and how hard the players play this game. It's, as Dash mentioned, it's a game on crack. So there is no easy way to navigate the game. You always have, not in all situations, but in somehow, some way, there are moments in the game that you are pushed to play extra harder than how you usually play.
Yeah. But you can also play it very chill. Like look at Josh, the season 9 winner. He was able to drive, go to his work party, eat in front of a camera.
He was like hitting on someone also while playing too. Talking about trying to get someone like this one up there. I'm like, and while also yelling at me for taking out Gianna, and I'm like, oh my god, like he was just starting fights with everyone in the fucking game while also like, these crablegs are great. Like it was like, what the hell, dude?
And Renzo saying, if because I was a room mod and we were to the room mods. If Josh enters your room and if he needs to jump to another breakout room, can you please help him move because he's driving right now and he can't move himself?
That was
glorious.
amazing. One iconic Josh moment in that moment, in that season with Josh and Owen, when I asked who wants to swap on the other tribe, Owen and Josh both said yes because their names have been just like not
so much.
And they both made jury, so take those risks. Sometimes it pays off.
Yeah.
Yes, and with Josh doing that, we have very fun confessionals as well. Billy and Chris being nominated together at season 9 was probably one of the best confessionals and exits that I've seen. With Billy just declaring how much he adored Chris because they're like all long friends. It was everything.
Yeah, and then Trav's exit when he left too. That really, I think, touched everybody, and how important it is to, as he said, no one is gonna write my story but myself. No matter who comes and tries to hate, push us down, troll, just trying to ruin what we have, and just show that nothing is gonna stop me or stop us from doing what we love.
Yeah.
That was just a few words was enough to touch us all.
It was hard for me not to cry in that moment. I was like holding up.
I definitely cried. I definitely cried while my camera was off. I'm like,
It was everything. Speaking of fun moments, we had like great talent shows in the past with the sock talent show by I forgot who were there, but it was Ben, Kayla,
Pinoy.
They were singing Single Ladies with Socks.
Think of Dash's team too.
Yeah, that was I really went all out in that lip sync. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
How about the chugging talent when Ryan Elder was playing the guitar and everybody was just chugging and Ashley was chugging ginger ale. I was like, how can you chug a ginger ale?
I think adding like that talent show portion, like the tribal challenges in general, I think is a really good idea because it brings the teams together for like a couple of rounds, and like you see them really bond over that, and it's really, I think it helps strengthen some bonds that might not have been there before. So, and it's also fun to watch. So
Yeah, good thing you mentioned that, Jess, because like one big for me of doing double twist is making friendships, and I feel like that really um expedites the socializing aspect and friendship building. One more thing that we've done before is during the battle back when people were paired up and they had to get to know each other. Do you remember?
that's also my favorite.
I
Like
do remember
challenge.
that was a lot of fun to watch.
Like having that as the buyback is just so much fun to watch as like a mod who has to like see them like try to ask each other questions. But I also think that it's just a fun casual challenge that can strengthen a bond. So even if you don't happen to win your way back into the game, you still learn something.
Yeah, that's what happened. Like there's people, I think that people like built a connection there even though they didn't come back into the game.
Yeah. I mean, Double Twist is not just a game about eliminating people. Renzo kind of puts in challenges or twists that teaches you dating in real life.
So play.
He's really a matchmaker.
It's a good cast in Double Twist. Find your lover twist.
Right.
Yeah, that is true.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, you have like very successful battle backs, and whatnot. I would super hate not to mention all the rivalries. So if you can just go over like those quickly, because I know that we've been like over time. Sorry, Mark. I would start rivalry. Favorite rivalry of mine would be John Mesa and KW. Period. The way they played each other, like their entire double twist journey was just about each other. They were from the same tribe. I think somebody met John probably brought up KW's name, and then KW knew about it, so she brought up John's name. So John was eliminated. KW was almost eliminated, but survived because of the 3 votes or lower. And then John made his way back to the game. But they were never HOHs or nominees. They were just like voting with each other. And then come jury, when they were both together, I don't think they even like tried to vote anybody else out. They were just trying to target each other as much as they can, and like even if they are safe or something. And then they ended up going back to back when John was eliminated, KW was eliminated. I love them both. It was something surprising, and I just and was really entertained watching it. What are your favorite rivalries?
Oh, it's definitely Dash against the world. I love Dash. He knows that, and he was on my team too. From round 1, there was Jonathan Aldana. Jury came. There was Isabel. There was Kayla. So I think Dash was very much stretched in season 8 with all the rivalries that he had there.
Oh, but so much fun to watch. So much fun.
But also, like, he's not the only person that had a rivalry with pretty much everyone in the game. Like, Josh Williams in season 9 literally went to the game being like, I want to be messy and have rivalries with everyone. Even like friends of mine like outside of the game. So like I think partially his tactic was to like go that work function, to drive his car and just like not be present, but be present, you know? And then like get very mad when people got voted out that he like, so remember he told me after he was like, yeah, I didn't care if you vote that person out. I'm like, dude, I want you to work with you in this game.
Yeah, but the way he used that in his final jury speech was chef's kiss. He said that he was playing that way to get himself further in the game, which actually like I thought that was a smart speech, one of the smartest speeches in the history of double chess. How about the others? What are your favorite rivalries?
I think the Sarah Caleb one was a little bit underrated in season 4.
Yeah.
Where Caleb went HOH and put Sarah up as his rival from Sequester Heroes Villains game. And Sarah said that like it was an insult to call him a rival because she didn't consider him a rival at all.
I remember that, yeah.
So and it was someone like to not even like recognize them as being a rival was very funny.
Yeah.
Like you're not worth my time.
It wasn't a reciprocated rival.
No, it's a one-sided rivalry.
That's the worst, though, right? Like we're like, I hate you, and you're like, why?
I don't care. Who are you?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Jess, do you have any? What are your favorite rivalries?
Gotta think about that. I mean, Jason Royden had their rivalry, right? And I really that was fun to watch for me because I really like watching them both play in general, and seeing them kind of go against each other a little bit was really fun in the season 5, especially. Like they found themselves in different alliances. They weren't really targeting each other sometimes, but they also kind of were. Like it's not like a huge rivalry, granted, like compared to other ones, but I thought that one was like a small, subtle, underrated rivalry that I really enjoyed to watch. So
That's so true. And it started back in season 3. They chose each
yeah,
other as pairs.
yeah.
And then when they both returned for season 5, it
Mhm.
was it was something. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
They're always gonna be like, I thought you were with me, but I thought you were with me, and I thought you were with me. Yeah, if that's it. Yeah, I think we've covered pretty much covered everything that you want to cover. I have a final question for everybody. After this, what do you think is the best advice you can give for people who want to play double twist? And what do you think is the best way to win double twists?
Okay, I need to hear this.
Honestly, I don't think that there's one way to win double twists. As easy as it could be to say, okay, this is the guideline on how to win double twists. I don't think that's accurate because we've had so many variety of different winners who have played such a variety of different games. Because each season, the twists, the casts, whatever, they're gonna change how people play. Like the winners are gonna change based on the cast or the twists. So, I mean, the only thing you can really do is like any other game, play your hardest, do what you can to get yourself further with social relationships. I would say that's probably a really, really important one, and especially since things change so quickly within rounds. You start off in one tribe, and then a couple of rounds later, you're working with new people, and then the Big Brother rounds happen, and then you start to work with even more new people. So I think just being able to adapt to those situations in forming social bonds and trying to also like it's hard to explain, really. It really is because people will figure out how to play differently. Some people play more socially, some people play more strategically, and depending on the situation, either type of player can win the game. So
Yeah, I 100% agree with Jess. There's no one way to win the game. Any game. But I do think one skill that will be really helpful, not just in games, but like in life in general, is learning how to read the room. You should like take a moment for yourself to see if people are with you or against you, or if if you could work with this person or not. Like reading the room translates to a lot of moves that you might have to make as the game progresses, and it will define your way to the end.
Yeah, I totally agree with what both Jess and Perry is saying. From what I've seen, as we said, there is not one recipe that works. Sometimes game bots make it to the end and then they win. They are just so focused on their game. But then there's been other seasons. I remember the season where okay, where Caleb won, or Khalid. He just showed such passion in the end, and he was playing with his heart in the end, and I think he convinced so many people just by the social passion and the and compared to people who are very game focused. So yeah, it definitely depends. And as Ferry said, being able to read the room, and that's something, for example, that I have a hard time doing sometimes. I am too slow sometimes to read the room, and that's something that I need to be better at, because you need to be very quick at knowing what are these people thinking, what are they doing, are they with me, are they against me? Okay, I need to make a decision right now.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you definitely have to go in with an open mind coming into this game. This game is very strategic based, and you have to take a step back and be like, hey, what is the twist for this round? Like, how do we play this? How do we play both sets of twists? Because it is double twists. And then, I mean, adapting is definitely huge because things do change so much in the game. So I feel like not many people solidify alliances in the game or relationships early on, and the ones that do typically make it far with those alliances. Especially with all the dynamics of the game. But I think you do have to be aware going into the game, like, oh, how may I want to play fire tokens, or how may I want to respond to a certain twist, or like, and not while also being like self-aware of like where you stand in the game in a moment as like things change. Like, oh, hey, are there people I'm not seeing much, or people I don't have those connections with that I could be scared with based on like a twist, and kind of just accounting for all the stuff as like it changes so much in the game.
My biggest thing in this game is, besides adaptability, is I think going in with a sense of humor. I think that gets you a lot farther in this game than other games, just because of the fact that the twists that you guys come up with are so off the wall sometimes that you have to like laugh about them sometimes. I think that the sense of humor goes very strongly with this game.
Yeah, I echo everything that has been said. But if I have to like summarize it, I would just say play with the twist. More than playing with the people themselves, focus first on the twist, and then that should dictate how you play with the players.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because yeah, there's a lot that you can do with all the twists around. And with that, thank you so much, Mark, for having us tonight. This has been a long discussion. See, like I'm so bad at time management.
Totally fine. I got banners for you guys all. Renzo, I am Renzo Santos. Jess at J underscore Desi. We got Brian at Grace 13 for Barry Chavez, Raspberry 93. Thank you guys. It was because I didn't know what I was thinking about doing today because like the holidays and all that stuff. So I'm happy to have you guys. I'll just wrap up the show now. Also, when is season 10?
Exactly.
Guys to do close the season, which is smart. So
yeah, we're basically closing the first chapter of Double Twist, and we're gonna take some break after that. But the next season is called Winners versus Runner-Ups. 9 winners and 9 runner-ups are returning from seasons 1 to 9 to compete in this legendary epic battle. Spoiler alert, we're gonna go back to basics. We're not gonna add new stuff or maybe just 1 or 2. But we just want the players to play hard, and we're gonna stream it. Finally, it's the first time that we're gonna do it. We've been hearing a lot of the players wanting to stream it instead, so that there is less audience, easier for them to move out, in and out of breakout rooms. So that's primarily why we're doing it. But we also wanna showcase how excited we are with this legendary cast because it's stacked. I cannot
ask us for winner picks because it's hard to pick.
everyone.
It's gonna be on January 3. I even forgot to mention the date. January 3. That is coming this coming Sunday, 2:00 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
And also, I would just like to say, Mark did this, so for everybody who would want to support what Mark is doing, please donate on his Venmo, show some support, subscribe to his channel. I really appreciate Mark a lot. He's played in 2 seasons of Double Twist. He's like an amazing friend, amazing guy, amazing everything.
I always watch the show. Like it's always fun to watch or play. It's one of those games where I'm like, I don't know if I have more fun watching or playing. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. When you ask me to do this, I'm like, yeah, of course. And I'll just quickly plug what I have coming up for the show.
Yes.
And then I'll pass back to you guys if you want. But so Mark Remy Troll season 2 is back. Andrew Favaloro is our guest for the premiere of season 2 of Remy Troll. But coming on Tuesday, Karishma Patel is my guest, and we go into a very, very fun episode of Boy Meets World, which I very, very much loved. Also, casting is now open for Adventure Game Season 2. The information you find. I have to hope for some of y'all to apply too, because I know a lot. And Friday got our next MarkTalk Brant Steele. I still need a commentator and a whole cast. And of course, I hope you guys are part of it or whatever.
I never played the Brand Seal yet. Just throwing it out there.
Ferry, you'll be in this week then. Tweet at me at MarkLevy85. Thank you guys. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark.
No problem. And I'll see you guys soon. Happy New Year, right?
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah. It's New Year's Eve for Rasmus right now. Yeah. Right? It's New Year's Eve by you right now, right, Rasmus?
Sorry, what?
It's New Year's Eve by you because you're like
it's technically the 31st now.
Yeah.
It's 4 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, 4 in the morning.
You chill off the Rasmus can go to sleep. Or whatever. But see you guys. Bye.
Bye.